guys are all trickling in. Saw a few of you on yesterday, and I pointed out that wedge, right? And pretty much the entire day stayed within that wedge. So somebody pointed out Irfan. Irfan pointed out 705, and then the reject off the 500. That would have been the only trades that I probably would have taken, looking at price in the wedge, right? That's the, I don't know if you guys seen, I messaged in the chat yesterday about being in the wedge, but that's the thing, is when we are in a wedge, I'm not going to take I'm not going to take anything down outside of the wedge until it fully breaks out. And I'm not going to take anything up until it fully breaks out of the wedge. So if you can see, right, there's one of two things that you're going to do when you're stuck in the wedge. Is you're either going to play within the wedge, or you're going to just not take any trades, right? So when you guys see price coming down like at 645, 650, you know, if you don't want to take that down, that's fine, because it's against the 500. But as Irfan pointed out, price came down 655, 7 o'clock gave us a big wick to the bottom, a hammer, and then 705 gave us an engulfing candle going up. Quick 4, 5, 600 pips in about 10 minutes, and that came right back down to the same spot, uptrend 500, gave us a big rejection at 730. 5-10 minutes later, 20 minutes, we're at the next level. So that's how you play the wedge, right? And it's one of those things where it's, you play it to your comfort level, right? There is a sense of a gambling sense in this, and once again, the easiest thing to do if you don't feel confident in the situation, you don't take anything. But if you're in the wedge and you want to play the wedge, you play within the wedge, right? Like you play the bottom, just like how we look at support and resistance. When price came down at like 655, 7 o'clock, and then 705, like Irfan pointed out, you could take the buy right there, you know, playing within the wedge. Take the buy, ride it up to the top of the wedge. You know, it comes back down off the 500 again, 730, shoots right back up. Next candle, you're at the top of the wedge, you exit. You probably would be anywhere from like 800 to 1,000 pips just off of those two entries. So when you are in a wedge, and that's why I wanted to, like, I was still on the plane just got on the tarmac, and I was like, okay, let me get data, I'm going to send this out to them so you guys know there's a possible wedge. The wedges are so simple. They're so simple because they're so visual. And all you have to do is wait for it. You know, wait for it to break out or play within the wedge. That's about it. Play within the wedge or wait for it to break out. You got to understand, if you wait for it to break out, similar to yesterday, you might not take an entry, right? Because price never broke out, really. It stayed in between two levels pretty much, supported off the 500. But you know me, and I'm very, very adamant about taking the buys, taking the entries with the 500. So Irfan is just getting in here, but Irfan, I was just talking about you. I was reading the chat from yesterday, and you were asking about 705, and then you said price rejected from the 500, and that's exactly what I was going over with everybody just now. Is those are really the only entries that I probably would have taken off the 500, off the bottom of the wedge, going up to the top of the wedge. Maybe one, maybe two entries right there. 705 would have been the first entry, coming back down. 730 would have been the next entry to go back up. Those are probably the only ones I would have taken. You know, once again, you play within the range or you don't, and you wait for price to break out. But once again, remember, if you're waiting for price to break out, sometimes you don't take an entry because it takes too long. Like, that's just the way it works. It's just the way it works. But yesterday, despite it being in a wedge, in a range, it's a pretty easy day, right? As long as you just manage your entries and realize that really the only thing that mattered was the wedge. And Chris, was that you that just sent me over money just recently or like a couple minutes ago? I got like 4 different Chris's.
Yeah.
Okay, roger that. I think I gotta update yours. Give me 1 second. Yours is like CH2. Oh, wrong Chris. Sorry. That's what I mean. I got so many Chris's. The correct Chris answered. Thank you. Yours is like the CHR1S215, right? Your username on TradingView. I didn't hear you, but I'm gonna assume that you were agreeing. So
yeah,
we got.
That was me.
Okay, perfect.
It's like the CHR1S215, right? Your username on TradingView.
Give me a minute and I'll get you updated, and then you'll just have to refresh your screen. So we got price just rejected R1, but we're in an uptrend. Okay, go ahead and refresh your trading view and you should be Gucci now. Let me know if any indicators are not up and running. But yeah, so like I was telling everybody, we'll look at this real quick. What do we got? We got rejection of R1. We're here on perp. All good. I was just going over yesterday's movement, and I'll go over it again because a couple other people ended up coming in right at 8:30. So, but right now we have this little uptrend that I see, and unless we break that hard to the downside, I won't really want to take that down. I'm looking at price as we're rejecting R1 right now, and I'm asking myself, okay, could this possibly be where we reject the gold zone and we come down, or are we gonna, are we gonna respect this uptrend and head up? But we got some big resistance here. We got 2 minutes and 40 seconds left, so let's see how this ends. So real quick, now that we got a decent bunch of you guys on, I want to go over yesterday again. So yesterday, our fawn, I was reading the chat. He brought up 705. If anybody took 705, 705 and 730 would have been the only entries, right? And you guys can see, right? We zoom out. That's why as quickly as I could when I hit the tarmac yesterday, I quickly, thank you. I quickly messaged you guys about the wedge because that's important. The whole fucking day, all we did was pretty much stay within that wedge. So, the way I like to look at it when we're in a wedge is sometimes I even just like to turn off fucking everything. Turn off everything so you guys can get a good example of this shit, right? Even if you had no fucking indicators, you can still take entries based off of this wedge that I drew before 630 even hit. So here's the thing. There's 2 ways of dealing with the wedge. You wait for it to break out, or you play in the wedge. If you play in the wedge, just know it's, there's risk to it, just like everything else. But when you have the wedge, you can visually see where the top of it is. You can visually see where the bottom of it is. So, first of all, I'm just going to turn on Mama because Mama shows us the 500. To Irfan's point, it did. It supported off the 500. It supported off the bottom of the uptrend line, off the bottom of the wedge. So, that would have been really the only entry I would have taken. If you didn't take that, as price came back down to the same spot, 730, and that uptrend line, and the 500, it does the same thing, supports right back up, take your exit at the top of the wedge. So, when you guys are in the wedge, understand that that's really the only two things you can do. Wait for it to break or play within it. If you don't want to play within it because you don't feel confident, then take 0 trades. If you're going to wait for it to break out, understand on a day like yesterday, you might not take an entry. Because really all day yesterday, all it did was stay within this range or stay within these two levels. So, Irfan, good on you. 0 trades, exactly. And there's nothing. Taking no bad entries is a W, right? Don't get that shit twisted, everybody. Taking 0 trades is a W for the day. I don't care if the reason was you just didn't feel it. I don't care if the reason was you actually had a reason and you said it's ranging. Whatever it is, if you decided to not trade like me yesterday, that's a W. Whatever. Call it a health day. Call it a mental health day and you're working on yourself. Like whatever you do because you didn't take an entry, fuck it. Because it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. So we had a big rejection to the top. A doji. Very possible that we're going to get the direction we want to go here in the near future. We were coming from being overbought. Let's see if we stay underneath underneath the perp, pretty much. Price stays underneath perp. That will be price rejecting R1. Maybe head down, but we got price here kind of supporting back up. Once again, the structure is currently up. But yeah, wedges. Wedges, you either play in it or you wait for it to break out. That's it. Oh, we got big volume pushing up. Maybe we're going to make the continuation. So now let's look at both sides of the coins, right? If we head up, we got R2, which is kind of 2 days ago, 3 days ago, like 3 days in a row, gold zone. Okay. 3 minutes left. Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from? And then Irfan, you had asked me something as well that I didn't have time. Yesterday I freaking got home super late after like a 2-hour drive. I didn't drive, but yeah, sitting in the car for 2 hours is rough. After I just flew. You were asking me about Friday or Monday. Let me see. 6:30 on the 16th. So that would be... Oh, Monday. Are you talking about Monday? What day were you talking about, Irfan, about the 6:30 entry that you had asked me my thoughts on it? If it's Monday yesterday, then I think I just answered it. Friday. Okay, thank you. So Friday 6:30. Yeah. So here's the thing, right? What type of structure were we in before 6:30? This area. Up or down? And anybody can answer if you want to. But were we up or down prior to 6:30 popping off on Friday? We were in a downtrend. So 6:30, yes, it's a big ass risk. Here's the thing, if you didn't take the big ass risk 6:30 on Friday, even though it's a beautiful entry, right? Because maybe you said, okay, yeah, it was 1,500 pips, 1,600 pips. You could have just, you could wait. 640 gives us the rejection to the top. 645 gives us another entry to the bottom off perp. So remember, you'll get the entry. And look at that. Probably about, what, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. 30 minutes later, you would have been at the next gold zone. So, if you decided to not enter in off of 630 because it was too big of a risk, congratulations. If you waited and then got in off the rejection of perp, either 640 or 645, congratulations. If you got in at 630 because you didn't mind the big ass risk, congratulations. They're all good, right? Like, all of those entries are juice strat entries. The first one is perp, gold zone, where we overbought, oversold, and we were overbought. So 3 already. Liddy candles, yep. And then you look at 645, 640, and 645. You know, all you're telling yourself here, rejection of perp, is you're telling yourself, like, yeah, this is the continuation of the gold zone push coming down. So when you're in the middle of the gold zones and you're trying to make a decision, like here, 640, 645, you know, that's all you're doing. You're like, okay, rejection of perp, pushing through level, finishing our gold zone push. And that's all we did. Price only went down to the gold zone and then kind of, you know, supported back up. So 3 good entries you could have gotten into, even if you didn't get into the 1500 pip at fucking 630. So we got price here, kind of looking like it wants to head up. Let's see how we do here. We got one more wick to the gold zone. Whew. Looking like we want to break. Looking like we want to break. Got some big volume now. Pretty much halfway to the next gold zone. Short gold zones today. One candle is roughly 1,000 pips right there. So once again, that uptrend line I drew, pretty strong. Uptrend line, it's perp, it's doji. Like, I hope you guys are paying attention to when we have dojis. I say the same thing after every doji, or during every doji I say the same thing. I bet you the next few candles is going to dictate which direction it wants to go. Why? Because dojis say I don't know. And at some point price will tell us which, price will say I know. I know where I want to go. This current candle is the second candle to go green Liddy. For the day, we've moved about 2,600 pips so far.
Do we have news today? I didn't even look. Got Bowman's speech in 4.5 hours. FOMC news is tomorrow.
That's weird, because even yesterday there wasn't even much news. So we broke R1 pretty strong, resisting this level. Got some resistance here. That level is tough. That level is if we look left, right, there's always reasons. If we look left, price rejected this area Friday twice, created little levels of resistance. So if we don't want to break there again, that would make sense. I'm gonna see where this goes, see if we make the finish gold zone to gold zone push. Two things on a day like this when we are at a level. When we are at a level that we can see visual resistance in the past, this level can play resistance, right? So yes, we believe in the gold zone to gold zone push, but we're never blind, right? We cannot turn a blind eye to these areas that could possibly play as resistance. But hey, we let it play out. So getting some pretty big resistance there. Liddy is still green. Blah, 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 blah. A little bit of resistance here. Nothing crazy. Minute 20 left. Liddy is still green. I'm trying to watch the Kamzat and DDP fight, but I can't find videos of it anywhere. I didn't get to watch it, but I want to watch it. heard he ragdolled the shit out of him. So we've got some big wicks to the bottom here. You know what I hate when people say like it's a certain the fight, and then it's them playing fucking UFC. Like I'll look it up. I'll be like, I'm looking for like I don't know the Nate Diaz Conor McGregor fight, and then I'll find the link for it, and it's somebody playing UFC, fighting as Conor and fucking Nate. I'm like, you motherfuckers. I'm looking for the real fight. So we got wick to the bottom, looking like possibly continuating here. Let's see. Continuating. Is that a real word? Real word? Continuating. Not quite wanting to break this level. I'm going to be watching this closely. Is continuating a real word? But it is not recognized as correct or in dictionaries or formal English. Okay, fine. We won't use continuating. So we're still getting some resistance to this area. Price not quite sure where it wants to go. I'm still just waiting this out. Once again, taking your entries at the gold zones, close to the gold zones, as long as you're not over leveraging your account, you should be okay with taking a loss, right? And I want to bring that up because that is how you trade fearlessly, right? Like you're sticking to your plan. If you get 2 back-to-back entries wrong, you're done for the day. Once you get into your first entry, if you're following your rules, right, no more than like 500 that you're risking on a $50,000 account, you should be not afraid to lose any entry. So you should not be afraid to hit the button and just let whatever play out, right? Because no matter what, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. In the end, it always averages out. But for those of you who end up getting FOMO because you wait, or you end up over leveraging, and then, because a lot of times what I will hear from you guys is, you took the bad entry, you lost a decent amount, and now you're afraid to get into the next entry, and then you get into it late. That's just a recipe for disaster. So what I hear when people tell me that is, all I hear is, you over leveraged your account. So whatever it is that makes you guys ever feel some type of way, the moment you push the button, and that's a good way. Like when I first started really starting to understand who I was as a trader, that's the first thing I did. I was like, okay, I need to stop doing whatever it is that when I push the button, I start to feel uncomfortable. So for all of you guys, you know, if you hit your buy and your sell button and you already feel uncomfortable, you've already over leveraged your account. It may not be literally in the sense that you're over leveraging, you know, your 2K for the day, but you're over leveraging how much your mentality can handle losing. And that's more important than your bank account. So take note now, you know, whether you've been with me for a while, whether you already know this, good for you, or whether you're fairly newer and you're still learning, take note of how you guys feel when you guys are pushing these buttons, because it's a good way to feel out what's wrong from the beginning. And 99% of problems are fixed by just not over leveraging. And I get it. When you don't make as much, I get it. It feels like you should have bet more, especially when you're winning, right? Because I already know what you guys go through. You guys go through win streaks. You're winning, and then you take a loser, and then you feel some type of way, and then you kind of start fucking up, the rules. But understand that just push through, do the same thing every day. Throughout the losses, you will stay victorious. So we got 5 seconds left. Price still not quite knowing what it wants to do. And we have a small little doji formed here. So if a small little doji, I'm going to go out on a limb and I'll say that the next few candles will probably start to tell us which way it wants to go. Hello, my name is Isabella and I'm a recruiter with Publicist Group A. We saw your profile on several online recruitment platforms and were impressed by your background and experience. We're currently offering a flexible part-time position that you can work in your free time. The work is simple and we provide free training to help you get up to it quickly. I'm going to ask ChatGPT how should I respond to this, and I'm just going to have a conversation with this person. Give me a reply to waste this scammer's time. So we still got prices pretty much just gone sideways. Once again, previous candle was a doji. We got 3 minutes left on this candle. Let's see if this candle or the next couple candles kind of tell us which direction we're wanting to go. So we're rejecting the top again. Liddy candle is still green. We are getting some rejection. We are fairly overbought at this point. Correct. That's what I was just looking at. Now for me to believe in selling off, I'd still have to see price wanting to break R1 gold zone, right? Because if we look at what we have as support, right? What do we have underneath us? We have R1 gold zone. We have the uptrend line, and we have perp. So before I'd even consider selling off, I'd want to see price breaking that. Because as much as, price may be coming down right here, but what if it plays as a support off of perp and R1 and it heads right back up? That's the one thing that I don't know will happen, so I just have to be patient. We just have to be patient. And that's all it is, right? We just wait for these cues, like at these areas. Luckily, these areas are visible with these gold zones, and all we gotta do is just wait for it See how it responds to the area. Make a decision. We got 45 seconds left. Still a little bit of resistance here. Liddy is still green. Yes, we are overbought. Heading looking like we want to go back, tap the gold zone again. See what we do here. Because now we need to ask ourselves, or we need to be patient and wait. Is this area going to play a support, or is price going to break through? So small wick to the bottom. So what is price going to do to this area, which is pretty much perp? Perp's right underneath us. Pretty big support here. But we still got about 4 minutes left, so. I just saw a post. Here's the paradox. Trading becomes way easier when you stop needing the money. Less pressure, fewer emotions, better decisions. We all want the money. We all know that the end goal is the money. So trade like it's not even a problem. So we got some support here, 3.5 minutes left. Let's see if this is where we're going to support back up, maybe finish the push. Sometimes you will never know the value of a moment until it becomes a memory. Big support. So you think about what's happening here. The three last candles, so this one candle right now is engulfing 20 minutes of movement. If this stays strong, that tells you a lot, right? Like we read these candles. This one candle is telling us it's making a decision. Fuck the last 20 minutes. We're going up. That's huge to me. That's huge in understanding what the chart is trying to tell us. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Let's see if we can stay strong. We've pushed through the level, so let's see if we get to the gold zone. Look at our Liddy candles. Our Liddy candles are still green. Let's go. Let's go. Get past R2. Come on. Give me R2 and a half. Give me R2 and a half. Come on. I like it. Let's go. That's gold zone, baby. That's gold zone. My stop loss is in profit, 250. Looks like I just got tapped out. Gold zone to gold zone. Am I right or am I right? So I made 250 off of one account, and then I don't know why, but my top step, it like reset, and I wasn't copy trading, so I made 250 off one of them, and I made 100 off the other, so 350 for the day. 350 as price is pushing through R2, but I'm done. What time is it? It's 9 o'clock. That's a perfect 30 minutes. Well, I entered in at what, 6:40, so that's a perfect 20 minutes. Can you guys imagine that? Like 20 minutes like sometimes can feel like an eternity. It feels like an eternity when we're in the entry. You know, and that's something that I still have to work on, and I still work on every day, is still like just being calm while being in the entry, because it is tough. Like, of course you don't want to see your profits decrease, but you also want to try to make the most out of the entry, right? And that's the perfect balance that we try to fight for every day, that harmony of letting the trade play out, but also taking as much as we can get, right? So right now price is rejecting R2, and I'm happy that I exited where I exited, because if I didn't exit where I exited, I'd be a little less profit right now as price is rejecting. Could price go back up and maybe go R2 to R3? Yes. But I don't know at this point what's going to happen, right? What did I bet on? What did I bet on? Because there's only one candle today. Did anybody else get into an entry? If so, what was your entry? Nobody else got in? Hell yeah, a little bit quiet today. Nobody entered? $6.40. Nice. So that's it. Like, there's only one candle that broke above the gold zone. And yes, price did reject back down, but perp played support. Exactly. It rejected 3 times, but it's still, right? Like, price is still above perp. Price is still above the gold zone. Price was still above perp. So it's okay, right? Like, to enter on at 640, like taking the risk, knowing that if price comes down R1 to R1 to P, that is where you'll make up your money and make a profit. Remember, if you're trading responsibly, if you're trading healthy, not over leveraging your account, you'll push the button and you'll just hold, because that's exactly what I did. That's exactly what Irfan did. I'm hoping you held it all the way to R2, right? Like, when you get into these entries, there's only win or there's lose. So let it play out, right? Put yourself in the best position to let the trade play out. And all that, it's, once again, look at the variables, right? That's why I like trading, because I always say it's just the data, right? It's just your lot size. You know, like, did you over leverage your trade? If no, you'll accept defeat, the loss, or you'll accept the win, and you'll let it play out. If you over leveraged all of this time, you know, 645, 650, 655, all of that time as price is rejecting down, you're shitting your pants. Your ass is clenched so tight, like Diddy is right behind you with the baby oil. You're clenching hard. That's how you know you over leveraged, you know? If you cannot handle being in drawdown, and if you cannot handle accepting the loss, you over leveraged. And you have to accept it, right? You have to accept it, and then you move on. So, first of all, I don't know why you would have Diddy behind you with some baby oil, but I'm just saying, you gotta accept defeat. Accept defeat or accept winning. Put yourself in the best position to just let the trade play out. So, I'm glad. I'm glad at least a couple of you guys took it. If any of you guys else took it, good on you guys. Um, that's it. Because now I'm done. I'm gonna go wash up and sleep because I'm tired. When I was in Singapore, all I did was walk. Walk, 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 walk. Similar to Japan. Just walk everywhere. What am I doing today? Walking to go see some shit. Except for Singapore, I like Singapore because they have all those like underground everything. Everything. Every building has some kind of underground fucking city of stores and like shit to do. Which makes sense because it's hot, you know. And I was doing some deep research into it. Long story short, I have some friends that I do business with there, but they were going over how the island, everything is designed to cool off the island. Everything. Like 75% of that island catches water and like it is like a water catchment thing, and underneath like everything, like they have a whole underground aqua cooling like system. You know, and if you ever have gone to Singapore, if you ever looked it up, it's huge skyscrapers going high fucking in the sky like New York type. And then there's the same amount of life going down. So just as much life as there is going up, there's just as much life going down. Like there's people they refer to as the mole people because they just live underground. I have some friends who work there, and they're like, yeah, the public transit system and that island is so perfectly planned out that some of them never see the sun. I was like, that's not healthy. But the fact that you can go anywhere and pretty much never have to touch the sun because it's so hot sometimes, or when it's pouring rain, like it's a, I don't know. I obsess over that type of like architecture and design and things like that because I don't know. I guess I'm not capable of doing that, so seeing it done in places like that and truly understanding it is pretty crazy, yeah. Because I'm trying to, there's some renewable energy things that I'm trying to partner with over there, and these guys got all that water. You know, it's just a tiny little island, but they make so much use of water. Yeah. Everything. Even that waterfall in the airport. Oh man, that thing's so cool. And it's just one big ass waterfall. That's really what it is. But the way it's designed as a concave, like it's a design marvel, man. Ah, it's a beautiful thing. Alrighty, guys. If nobody has any other questions, I am pretty solid for the day. Price is rejecting R2 here, and I'm probably not going to take any more entries. I'm going to go rest up. So, anybody have any questions? I'll give you guys 5 more minutes or so. Steven, you asked about Top Step, and I'm just going to keep talking until I'm done. But if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask. Steven, you asked about Top Step. So, I cannot walk you through the process of setting that up, only because it's kind of like it's a federal financial analyst thing that I technically cannot do. And I want you to understand everything about it. So I will tell you though, it's as easy as setting up TradingView. When you go to set up the account, I use the TopStep X account. So I use the TopStep X because I like to trade off of a separate platform, right? So like if you can imagine, I have TradingView up on one screen and then I have TopStep up on another. Some of the other Juice members and other people that I know, they like to trade directly on TradingView. So if you want to do that to where you can just have everything on one screen, I think it's Tradeovate. You have to look. They have different brokers that you choose from. Tradeovate is one that you can attach your broker to TradingView, and you can trade directly on TradingView. Once again, I don't like to do that because I like to have things separated for security reasons. But yeah, once you get it set up, I can try to help you walk you through things, but getting you set up is something that I try not to do with you guys, not because I don't want to see you guys succeed. Unlike the Juice Strat, where I want to walk you through everything, learning what broker you're using and what the asset classes are called and things like that, you got to do it yourself so that you fully understand. Because the one thing, and it's never happened to me, but I've seen it happen to other people, and this is like really worst case scenario type of shit, right? Like I trust you guys, and I hope one day if something ever happens, you don't blame me, right? Because I try to teach you guys this shit in the most healthy way, and I hope you guys never stab me in the back in any possible way. I don't know what that could be, but I'm just saying. But yeah, I cannot tell you guys how to set it up, and if anything happens negatively, falls back on me. So once again, it's fairly easy. Perfect. Isaiah was helping me yesterday and uses TradingView and TopStep to make trades. Exactly. So he does it like me, and I like it that way because I don't know. For me, I feel like it's easier. I don't want to, like, as you see, right? We draw all the lines and we have all the indicators on TradingView. I don't like my screen to be too cluttered. So I like, if I'm going to place my trades, like how you guys see my trades when I post them on Instagram, it's clean, right? It's just clean. It's just the entry. It's just the entry and the stop loss, and sometimes the take profit. Those are the only three things that are ever going to be on my top step when I'm trading. TradingView will have all of the indicators, all of the lines and things, right? But I'm not a financial analyst, so I cannot make any recommendations. But what I would say, if I was talking to myself in the mirror, what I would be telling myself right now is I like the way I do it. And I like the way Isaiah Cosmic, I like the way that he does it. Is my way any better than the other way? No. But for security reasons, I like doing it the way I do it. What, Nathan? What kind of wise ass remark do you have? But there's nothing wrong with trading on TradingView if you want things to be all in one spot, Especially like if you don't have two screens, I get it. I get why you'd want to have it all on one screen, just on TradingView. That's actually kind of it, And even when I'm on my phone trading from my phone, I have TradingView one app, and then I have TopStep. I made like a home screen shortcut to it, so I just kind of click the app button for TopStep, and it opens up TopStep. I'm on TopStep X, but I need to get a second screen because toggling back and forth sucks. Especially if you're only on your laptop. Like if you're only on a laptop sized screen, it can make it difficult. And especially if you don't have a mouse, like I don't know if you guys are using a mouse. If you don't have at least a 23-inch monitor or bigger, I would say even 27. Like I only trade and I use 27-inch monitors because it just makes sense. Yeah. And go like Nathan, I don't know. It's probably not as easy because I don't know if they have thrift stores there. But like Steven, like if I was you and I didn't have a second monitor, go to Goodwill. Like my first monitor that I ever bought was from Goodwill, and I bought it for like 20 something bucks, and it was a 27-inch monitor. It wasn't anything special. It was a 1080p, and even the monitor I have now, I went and I bought this monitor brand new. It was like 70 bucks, and it's just like a 27-inch 1080p 60 hertz screen, like just something cheap, like. But I would first, if I was still in America and I was near, like I'm in driving distance to a Goodwill, I'd just go to Goodwill and I buy one for like 20 bucks. Like you don't have to get extravagant with this shit. Just don't spend money until you've made money is what I'll say. But a second screen is worth the investment. So, but yeah, if you once again, if you want to trade from one, that's the only thing I would say. Like the only reason why you would want to stay on Trade-O-Vate with TopStep is to trade on one screen. If it's up to me, and there's also, so once again, you guys got to go read these things, right? There are fees that Trade-O-Vate charges you when you place your entries that TopStep does not trade, right? So, and you guys got to understand this because it's a broker thing, right? Top Step is their own little broker, Tradeovate is their own broker, and so on. JP Morgan, all that shit. So they're making money off of each transaction, and that's where they make their money. So Top Step as a platform is rewarding you with less fees to use their platform. So that's another reason why I like to use it, you know? In my opinion, you can place trades on any platform. It doesn't matter. So that's why I encourage you guys to, you know, trade outside of TradingView. Like, just learn new things. Like, this trading does get very, very redundant, but it's also something that you have to constantly stay up to date with, because things are changing. Assets are changing. Pick count is changing. Broker rules are changing. Fees are changing. Like, you gotta stay ahead of the game. And I don't only have Top Step, right? I have a couple other funded accounts, and I have a couple other brokers that I use that diversify your shit. Top Step is one of the very few funded accounts that hasn't shut down, but there were some scammy ones in the past, which I'm not sure if you guys have ever, you know, encountered them, but there have been funded accounts in the past, mostly overseas, that have been shut down by the SEC and things like that. So if you have money in there and like you built up an account and they shut down, well, guess what? Now you have $0. So that is a risk with any brokerage account, though, right? Like, people, when they told me that, they were like, you know, oh, that only happens. I'm like, no. Like, that happens all the time. Like, these brokerage accounts are just banks. Banks are brokers. So, like, the Silicon Valley Bank and all that shit, that all those 2-3 banks that went under, that's a bank that was trading people's money publicly. And people are like, oh, that never happens. I'm like, but it just fucking happened. So, like, don't tell me, like, and that's a good sign to show you, like, how anything is not promised and nothing's safe. Like, these banks and even, like, Chase and Amex, like, wherever you guys have your money saved, and, you know, that's exactly why they call it a savings account, so that you guys feel like it's safe to save it and your money is safe there, but no money is safe. Right now, every bank is trading with about 90% of your guys' money that you have in there. I don't care how little or how small. If you only got $100 in there, guess what? They're trading 90% of it. They're trading $90 of it. They're using $90 of your $100 to trade with it. You know, you got 50 grand in your account. They're trading with about 40,000 of it every day. So don't think anything's safe. I think the biggest scam was making people feel like the safe route is the best route, right? I'm sure you guys have realized, I don't know, you know, I do know everybody's ages, but, you know, at this point in your life, I'm sure you guys are realizing that the safe route is not the best route to build wealth and a better life, right? But up until this point, we've all been taught that this is kind of the way to go, which is some absolute bullshit, because the same way that, you know, and this is the last thing before I jump off, but I have this conversation a lot with my really close friends about, you know, like, being able to look me in the eye and lie. Like, a lot of my friends cannot do that, and I respect them for that, and that's why they're in my life, because I wouldn't do that to them. But that's my thing, is like, if you cannot, you know, if you can tolerate a friend lying to you, then I think the problem is you. You know, because there's only so much that you can do before you start fucking the world up. And when you look at that with bettering your life, if you're not bettering your life, then you're fucking up the people around you. You're fucking up their lives as well. You know, people don't look at it that way, but that's probably why the majority of people are not as happy with, you know, the results of their decisions in their lives, because they don't think about that. Like, if I'm a better person and if I can live a better life and treat people well, then the people around me will get treated well, and hopefully they'll be exposed to bettering their life. But I know so many of my friends who do not choose to better themselves, or do not choose to make better decisions, and that results in their circle staying pretty bad. You know, like, my friends still to this day, you know, some of them understand what I do, some of them don't understand what I do. But the ones that understand what I do now have a bigger exposure to what they're capable of. You know, and just knowing that I can do it, even for you guys. I know some of you guys are just, you know, strangers or acquaintances to me. Some of you guys are friends. I consider all of you guys friends and family at this point. So being exposed to me at this point means like I have to, like I need to continue to do better so that you guys know that this is capable, and you guys can elevate your lives. That's all I'm doing. So if yeah, I I don't, once again, I know I've accepted the fact that I don't think I'll change a lot of this world, but I know I'll change enough of it to where even life in 5 years will hopefully be better than it is, you know, right now for the majority of us. So, because I know for a fact I'm not gonna hit everybody out there, but I can hit the very few that I have arms links with. So, and that's something a lot of people don't want to hear. So, oh, fucking great. This guy. Well, you know what they say, right? The presence is the present. So maybe I'll just come out there, and I'll be the present. My presence will be the present. Alrighty, y'all. I know sometimes that's not the shit you guys want to hear, but it's necessary, man. Like, yeah, if you don't change yourself, then the world continues to stays shitty. And I don't think I'm a fucking an angel by any means, but I know that I have genuine direction to better myself and the people around me. So how I do that, this and other than that, I don't know. Every day I keep my eyes open, and I hope that whatever I do today will better the next day and just compound. So all the things, and it's funny because all the things that have ever made my life better, like substantially better, have been things that happen very indirectly. So, and that's just of being a good person and experiencing things. So, yeah. Alrighty, motherfuckers. I gotta get the fuck out of here. Yeah. I'm gonna go. So once again, I made about $350 for the day off of my 2 accounts. I think you might be able to see it. Like I was switching back and forth on 2 different accounts. So you guys will see that when you guys watch my trade today. You'll see one that's like 100, and you'll see one that's like $20, and then you'll see one that's 200, and then you'll see one that's like $100, and it's like because I'm clicking back and forth from account to account. So I didn't have the copy trade feature on for some reason, so it is what it is. But alright guys, I'll catch you guys tomorrow. We got FOMC news tomorrow. I think it happens before we get on though. I think it happens at 5:30 Pacific time, so we should be Gucci. But alrighty guys, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Message me if you guys need me. It loves you. Goodbye. Peace everybody. Laters.